So hello there, welcome to another video, and this one is kind of a response to a question I got a couple of times after I released my top 3 loadouts in Warframe, where I ranked the Dread my number 1 weapon in Warframe, my favorite weapon. And people started asking why. Why not Paris Prime, or why not Soma Prime, or Boltor Prime? And I decided to make a video and kind of explain it with some footage of me leveling Ash in Tier 2 Survival in the background. So, there are a couple of things. I think the Dread and the Paris Prime, even though they're both bows and they are very similar, except for damage, the Dread is mostly slash and Paris is mostly puncture, which would be better for Void. But I think... Now, this might not be true, but I think it is. I think Paris Prime has a different arrow speed that I can't get used to. And I don't know why is it so hard. Maybe it's because I play with the Dread so much that I just can't get used to different arrow speed, but it just doesn't work for me. I don't even know the name of the third bow, which is the impact bow. I don't use that at all. I either do Grenier or Void with a bow. Everything else, I use Amprex. And I just lull my way through the levels. So, with the Paris Prime, the arrows are either slower or faster. Which means that if I run around playing with my Dread, which sounds really weird, if I run around and I'm using the Dread with Speed Trigger, which is the only mod that augments the way you play with the bow because you can pull it back much faster, and then I switch to Paris Prime that also has a speed trigger, I can't hit things. I can't lead my shots, which means I can't hit moving enemies, and I just keep missing all the time because I just can't figure out the arrow speed or something. And I think it has to do with the arrow speed, because otherwise it would be the same. If the bows were the same, except for the damage type and the slightly lower crit chance on Paris Prime, I would be able to play with the Paris Prime no problem. But I just can't lead my shots properly. I also think the Dread looks much cooler, which, you know, you gotta have the swag factor when you're running around with a dinky bow when everyone's running around with Somas and Boltors. So you gotta have the swag. So that's the bows out of the way. I just prefer the Dread. I think it's the best bow, in my opinion. It's my opinion, you know? The thing that people don't really understand on the internet. So, why not Soma, or Boltor, or Amprex, or Penta? Well, I think it has to do a lot with the fact that I used to be a Counter-Strike sniper in my clan. So I would run around with AWP all the time, which means shooting through walls and having trigger discipline and all that good stuff. The Dread has that. Okay, you can shoot through walls, the punch through is fucking insane, and I just love hitting something through a wall. You know that fucker is there, so you shoot there and he dies. And that's really cool. It's really satisfying to guess where the enemy is and actually hit him through a wall. That's something I really liked in Counter-Strike. Just killing fuckers through a wall. They're just running with their little dinky bomb and suddenly through a wall, bam, dead. You know? So you can do that with the Dread and it's really cool. And the second thing is, I am terrible when it comes to reloading. And I think that's something a lot of people do, but I am extremely bad at reloading. Okay? I either run around with 2 rounds in the magazine, or I have to reload when I'm missing 2 rounds in the magazine. So those are the 2 states that I can be in terms of reloading. So I either run around with 2 rounds in the magazine, in which case something appears in front of me and I have 2 rounds, I would go poof, poof, and it's still alive. It's hitting me in the face with its cock. So that's not good. Or constantly reloading when I'm missing like 1 bullet in a 100-round magazine with like the Soma. And with something like the Soma, it has, 3-second reload time? I'm essentially reloading more than I'm shooting with that thing. And with the bow, I can't do that. Okay? And that helps a lot. Then the trigger discipline part. With the bows, I really like the fact that you hold the left mouse button down, and then you release it, which shoots the arrow. That is just awesome to me. I can pull the bow and then look around, and when I'm happy with the target, I can release my finger, which will shoot the arrow, and it's dead. And I just prefer that to holding down the left mouse button, looking around and emptying magazine after magazine after magazine with something like the Soma or Boltor. I just prefer this style of play. Then another thing is the ammo efficiency. You never, ever need an arrow mutation mod with a bow. With something like the Amprex, well, you either have to have the ammo mutation mod, or you need about 5,000 ammo packs. And why is that? Well, because most weapons become very ammo inefficient once you go against higher levels. So if you go like 10 plus waves on Tower Defense 4, or, you know, Tier 4 Survival or Tier 3 Survival, if you go like an hour plus, when you get to that point, enemies become so beefy, you have to empty entire magazines into them to kill them, even if you're headshotting them. So you need something. You either need a mutation mod or you need ammo packs. With the bow, even when I'm trying to kill something like a 60 plus bombard, if I get a headshot, red crit kills them. Okay, yellow crit, maybe 2 hits, but that's a level 60 bombard, and he's dead within a couple of shots. So the bow never really becomes ammo inefficient. And if you do run out of ammo, and you don't have ammo packs or whatever, just switch to your secondary or use your Warframe powers for a bit, and you're gonna pick up enough arrows to sustain you for the next couple of minutes. At which point, if you run out again, well, once again you switch to secondary or you do something with your Warframe powers, and you can go at it again. So that's another thing I really, really like. The fact that you can't be ammo inefficient. Well, of course, if you're missing with the bow, yes, it is very ammo inefficient. But if you're hitting things and you are killing things, then it's all good. You are ammo efficient up to, I don't know, like 2 hours into survival, which is a long bloody time, and only few people are willing to sit down for a session and play for 2 hours and actually get massive rewards from it. And very few people also have the skill and the knowledge to do that. So yeah, I would like to point out that I'm also not one of those people. I prefer to run for 20, maybe 40 minutes and then just bugger off. And the last thing I would like to say is it's probably the best weapon for the role I'm most comfortable with and I like the most in a team environment, which is to run around and snipe important targets. It's no good if I'm running around with a powerful bow like a dread, and I'm essentially a sniper, and I'm killing the butchers or whatever they're called, and just the normal gunners and the little dudes and the ancients. You know, they're no big deal. They're no big deal. Everyone can kill them. But I just like to run around, maybe even in stealth, and snipe bombards, snipe heavy gunners, basically the enemies that can fuck your group up the most. And I just really like that. I'm there on my Loki and hopefully soon on my Ashe, because I think Ashe just works better. I'm there in stealth, up front, and I'm running past those little dudes. They're no threat. They're no threat to my group. But the bombards at the back, they can knock us from cover and all that good stuff. So I'm up front. I'm in the middle of them, and I'm just headshotting them one by one. And that's what I like to do. So yeah, there you go. This is why I rank the Dread my number 1 weapon, and why for me it's better than Soma Prime, Boltor Prime, or whatever. So there you go. I thank you all for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.